Oh, how good and pleasant it is when brethren live together in unity. That is the first verse of Psalm 133. The Psalms, again, these are the words of praise of ancient Israel, penned by King David. These are the hymns. These are the spiritual songs. This is the praise and the worship of Israel. When things are good, when things are bad. When things are easy, when things are tough. In all times, places, and circumstances, through a variety of emotions, through all of human circumstances, these psalms are offered then throughout the year and throughout their lives as hymns of praise. And so we do so even now. Every Sunday we offer a psalm in worship. Every Sunday we offer a psalm in praise, just like we were singing or praying or praising. So we join our voices with theirs, and the one starts today. Oh, how good and pleasant it is when brethren live together in unity. Ecce quam bonum. Ecce quam bonum. This verse means something special to me because it's actually the motto of my seminary. All of the University of the South takes this first verse as the highlight and the purpose of the school itself. So in Latin, ecce quam bonum. You may now feel as though your Latin quota for the day has been fulfilled. But ecce quam bonum, oh how good and pleasant it is. Oh how good, how right, how righteous, how holy, how blessed it is when we live together in the unity of Christ. Every tribe, every tongue, every land, every nation, every people, one Lord, one faith, one body, His body, when we are together, when we are united, not estranged from one another, not far apart from one another, not distrustful, not resentful, not angry, not bitter, but when we are together, united in one Lord as His body, it is good, it is pleasant, it is holy, it is right, it is righteous, ecce quam bonum. That has been a part of the prayer and the praise of Israel from the beginning. It must be a part of our prayer and our praise even now. Ecce quam bonum. It is right. It is good. It is holy, righteous, and blessed. That we are united in the love of Christ, of one another. And there will be peace. And there will be joy. It will be good. It will be pleasant. It will be holy and righteous and right. Ecce quam bonum. Now, as we're speaking of brothers living together in unity, recognizing that it is indeed a good thing, I want to call your attention back to our first reading because we have the conclusion of the story of Joseph and his brothers that we started last week. And as we conclude the story of Joseph and his brothers, we're actually concluding the entire story of Genesis. These are the last few chapters of Genesis that this story will take place in. And when we finish the story of Joseph, we finish Genesis. Everything that's happened from the beginning to this moment contained in that one book. And this is kind of the story that wraps it all up. Now, I spent time last week telling you this story because I think it's a great story. I think it's a fantastic story, and it's interesting, and it's exciting, and it's a story of faithfulness through hardship, and it's a story of trusting in God's provision at our highs and at our lows, and never giving up and never quitting, and all that kind of stuff. But if you recall, my real point for telling the story is I love the stories of the Old Testament because they're great stories. They're just great stories. They're adventure stories, and they're exciting stories. And amazing things happen, and people do heroic things, and there's romance and there's intrigue, and it's just great stuff. And we relate to stories. We remember stories. Stories strike us at the heart of what it means to be human and to live human lives. And so we hear a story about something, and it goes beyond facts and figures, and it stays with us. And so that's why I like to tell Old Testament stories, because they are exciting and they are interesting. They're adventurous and they're good and they're fun. And I think these are stories that when you hear them, when you know them, you will love them. When you love these stories, you will love God's Word. And when you love God's Word, you will love Him more and more and more and more. So, I was telling you a story last week. I want to tell you one more story today. I want to finish where we were, because that's what we were given in our first reading. So allow me to recap very briefly for those who are not here. Joseph, the favorite son of Jacob, his father. Jacob has 12 sons. These will grow into the 12 tribes of Israel. And Joseph is his favorite for a variety of reasons. Joseph also seems to lack a little bit of self-awareness, because everybody knows that he's dad's favorite, yet he manages to keep reminding his brothers that he's dad's favorite. He even goes so far as to tell these prophetic dreams that God has granted him about how he is dad's favorite. Dreams that basically involve like all the brothers and family bowing down before Joseph and him high and exalted over everybody else. And you would think that if you're already dad's favorite and your brothers are kind of annoyed at that maybe sharing dreams that shows they're going to worship you and stuff like that, maybe you keep that to yourself. But he doesn't do that. And the resentment of the brothers grow. They don't like him at all. As a matter of fact, they're sick and tired of it, and they want to get rid of him. So they hatch this plan. We'll take him out alone, we'll kill him, and then they have kind of this crisis of conscience at the last moment. We don't really want him dead. We just want him dead to us. Like, is there a way that we can get rid of him permanently, but not kind of actually murder him? So they sell him into slavery. Oh, that's so much better. But they've got this great idea that this gets Joseph out of their hair completely, but they're not guilty for actually killing him. And they go home and they tell them, oh, Joseph died saving us and wild animals, and oh well. And inside, so they pocket a little loose cash because they have sold their own brother into slavery. They sell him to a traveling caravan. He's gone who knows where, and it's all done. And so Joseph, who is his father's favorite, is now way down below, and his life has crashed, and he is bought and sold by his own family who want to love him. He is taken eventually to Egypt, where as a slave in a rich man's house, he does such a good and faithful job because he never stops believing that God will fulfill these promises made to his forefathers, Abraham and Isaac, made to his father Jacob, made to him and his family now and forever. So I'm just going to do my best no matter what. And he does. And he starts rising higher and higher and higher in the household. He's smart, and he's capable, and he's a hard worker, and he's faithful. And eventually he becomes the number 2 guy in the whole household. He's not a slave anymore. He is the most valued employee. And then the rich man's wife, she's like, oh, he's a nice little piece of something. And tries to take advantage of the situation. Joseph is a good boy. No. And he runs off, but by running off, that allows the rich man's wife to say, it was all his fault. I was innocent and he tried to take advantage of me. So poor Joseph had no fault of his own, only trying to do the right thing. He'd worked himself all the way up and bam, all the way down again, because he's tossed in prison to rot forever. They're in prison. There's some more people. They're having these crazy dreams. Joseph still has a divine gift of interpreting and understanding these dreams. They're dreams, as a matter of fact, that are plaguing all of Egypt. So Joseph explains them to these guys. One of them gets out. He works for Pharaoh. Pharaoh can't sleep anymore because of this crazy dream. And eventually, Joseph is allowed to come out of prison because he's the only one who could possibly interpret. He does so, not only alleviates the concern of Pharaoh, but this prophetic dream that he interprets has to do with a coming famine. Egypt and all the region will have 7 years where everything goes fine. plenty of rain, plenty of crops, everything is great. But then after that, a severe drought will occur. 7-year-long drought, and there will be terrible starvation. There will be a famine over those 7 years. And Joseph, hardworking and smart and loyal and faithful and always trusting God's promises, he comes up with this idea. He says, we're going to take the surplus of those 7 really good years and we're going to store it. And then when the 7 really bad years of drought and famine come, we will have a surplus that we can ration out and we can give to everyone, and Egypt will be okay. And this is brilliant. I guess no one had ever done this before maybe, but God allows Joseph, through this divine gift of dream interpretation, through his own cleverness, hard work, and faithfulness. And remember, he was in prison to rot forever, and he rises, and now once again, he is the number 2 guy, but this time over all of Egypt. He's like Vice Pharaoh, and he is the big cheese. So that's where we are. And what we catch here in our first reading are kind of the after effects. It's been years. All of the good crops and stuff like that, those 7 years, they've already gone past. We are now in year 2 of this severe drought and this severe famine. So thanks to Joseph, Egypt is doing fine. But Egypt is not the only place in town. There are all these other countries. There are all these other people and areas, and they are suffering terribly. Amongst them, Joseph's family. Jacob and his sons, out there in Canaan, the promised land, there's no rain, there's this terrible drought, terrible famine, and they are slowly starving to death. And the grass dries up and burns up, and the animals start keeling over and dying, and there is no food, and there is no water, and they're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And Jacob is already an old man, and his body can't take this, and they are all going to die a slow and miserable death. But then they hear news. There's food in Egypt. Everywhere we've looked, it's been terrible, but we hear that Egypt somehow is okay. So the brothers hatch this plan. It's a plan of desperation, where they say, we're going to leave Dad, we're going to leave our stuff, and we're going to travel to Egypt and beg, borrow, and steal anything we can so we can bring it back and just hope we can survive. And so they do. A big group of them, all these brothers, they go and they travel and they make it into Egypt. And the guys in Egypt are like, whoa, wait a second. I mean, I'm sorry that you're starving, but what makes you think you can come in and take our food? We were smart. We were thorough. We did the right thing and we saved. And now who are you to come in and just simply ask? You're just some guy off the street. We don't allow non-Egyptians to come in and enjoy this food unless they go to the top man first and get his approval. And they're like, hey, anything. I mean, we will literally die. We've got our father back home, and he's starving to death. We will do anything. And so they bring him into this, this is a great big, it's a beautiful room, very imposing. And there, sitting like on a throne, this incredibly important administrator who says, tell me why I should give you anything. I owe you nothing. Egypt owes you nothing. You are nothing to us. Why should we help you? Brothers, they just, no reason. But we need you. You don't have to help us, but please. Please. That's all we can say at this point. We're good guys. We've got a father at home. He is starving to death. We barely made it. You have so much. I know you don't owe us anything, but please, please have mercy. And they throw themselves on the ground. Please, mighty minister of Pharaoh, have mercy on us, please. Like the Canaanite woman speaking to Jesus, I know you don't owe me a thing. But like the dogs who can eat the crumbs that drop off the table, it is always your property to have mercy. And the brothers beg for mercy. They beg to this important man. this administrator, this vice pharaoh, they don't recognize him, but they are begging their brother Joseph. Almost as though it were sheaves of corn that were bowing in homage to another, or stars bowing to the dreams of Joseph come true. Joseph recognizes his brothers. He knows who they are. They have no idea. Now remember, it's been years and years, and also they sold him off into slavery, and to them he's dead. I mean, you're never going to see this guy again. And even if it was conceivably possible, remember that he's a slave. It was an impossible thought that this incredibly important man who holds their fate in his hands could even potentially be this long-lost brother. All they see is a man who holds their lives in their hands, and they beg, and they grovel, and they plead for his mercy. And Joseph tells them, I will have mercy. Guards, load them up. And they bring food, and they bring drinks, bring all the things to sustain their life, and fill their bags and fill their carts and their donkeys and whatever, so they can bring this food back home so that they might live, their families might live, their elderly father might not die. But Joseph's not done yet, because now Joseph has an idea. Joseph, he's changed a lot over the years, but he wants to know if his brothers have too. So he takes this little bit of treasure. He takes this little golden cup and he hides it in some of the stuff that they are giving to these brothers. He hides it in Benjamin's stuff. He's the littlest one. He's a young man now, but he was actually too young to be out with the rest of the brothers when Joseph was sold. So he's like the only one that you would think Joseph has nothing against. And he hides this stolen cup in Benjamin's stuff. And just as the brothers, who are just overjoyed and amazed at their good fortune, they're just about ready to leave, it's like the shoplifting alarm goes off. And Joseph says, wait right there. Guards, search their things, empty your pockets, open up those bags. I know you've stolen something. And the brothers are like, no, and they start opening up their, I got nothing. And they go down the line and everyone is fine, and then Benjamin and it's in Benjamin's stuff. He's the one. You! Joseph tells him, how dare you? You were dead without me. And you've stolen? You had nothing. And you came and you begged on your hands and on your knees. You would betray me like this? Guards, you're going to grab him. You're going to throw him in jail. He will rot forever. Brothers. No. This can't be right. This can't be true. No. We didn't take anything. We know he didn't take anything. Please. And Joseph's anger just cannot be withstood. And finally, the brothers, they fall on their knees again and they say, please. We know he didn't do this. But we're not innocent. We've done things in our past. He doesn't deserve this. But we do. Take us instead. Let Benjamin go. Let him go home. Let him be with our Father. We will pay for this because we deserve it. And Joseph bursts into tears. Brothers, now I know. And I've grown up a lot and I've changed a lot, and you have too, brothers. Can't you tell? Don't you know who I am? They're just confused, and they have no idea. And he says, I am Joseph. I am Joseph. You thought I was dead. And I am alive. I'm your brother. And they embrace, and they cry, and they weep, and they're carrying on to the point where everybody in the palace is like, what is going on in there? But I mean, it's tears. Oh, my brothers. And the brother who was dead to them, the brothers whose death they caused, their responsibility, their evil act, and he is alive, and he is here. And Joseph says, take everything you need. But you need to go home. And you need to bring Dad here. He needs to know. He needs to know that I'm alive. And I want to see him one more time. Please. The brothers are just so overjoyed, and it's so incredible. This impossible situation, and it's actually happened. And with unbelievable joy, they leave to go back home. They tell Jacob everything, and Jacob just can't believe it. Now, he's gotten so old, and he's confused, but he's saying, no. Joseph died a long, long time ago. You told me that. The brothers were like, it was all us. We were wrong. We did it. We're so sorry. But I'm telling you the truth. He is alive. Come with us. Come. You've got to see him one more time. And Jacob still doesn't know what to think about it until he has a dream. That night. This time it's not Joseph dreaming, it's Jacob. And through this dream, the Lord says, this is your son who was dead to you, but he is alive through me. As a matter of fact, you will not die until you see him. Go with your sons and meet Joseph. And it is Joseph who one day will close your eyes and sleep for good. And they go. They take all their stuff. They load up everything they can carry. And Jacob and his family, Jacob and his 11 sons, and all the other people with them, they travel back to Egypt. And Joseph goes to talk to Pharaoh. And he says, my family, they're coming. I want to be able to take care of them. And Pharaoh says, anything you want. Pharaoh says, you saved us. You saved all of us. You saved me. You saved my entire nation. You may have anything you want. Your family will be like my family, and they will have the very best. And Jacob and his family, they arrive in Egypt, and there is a celebration throughout the nation. And all of the honor given to Joseph for saving Egypt is now bestowed upon Jacob and his family, and Jacob and Joseph, after decades, they now embrace. Dad, I never thought I'd see you again. But you're home now, and you're safe. And so Jacob and his family, they will live. They will not starve, they will not die. And even though the brothers, as Joseph reminds them, intended something for evil, God intended all of this for good. Because Joseph was sold into slavery, because Joseph was thrown into prison, because all of these things have happened, Joseph has now been able to save not only all of Egypt, he's been able to save his own family and his father. Plans that no one ever could have come up with. Events that no one could have possibly foreseen, but the Lord's promise to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to Joseph, to all the family, it was kept. And it is kept even still. So they live there in peace. And they live there in honor and in respect. They are given the best of lands in order to raise their flocks, to raise their families. They are treated as the most honored guests of Egypt, because Joseph saved all of them, then his family. They will be like heroes, like saviors, like rock stars to all of us in Egypt. And Jacob says, I just only have one request. As my years are fading, when it's time for me to die, please take me home. We've got this family tomb. My father Isaac is there. My grandfather Abraham, he is there. And I wish to lie with my fathers. Jacob dies, and Joseph is there, just as God promised to close his eyes. And they take the body of Jacob back to the land of promise, back to this family tomb where he might lie with Abraham and with Isaac and with all the patriarchs of God's promise. And almost all of Egypt comes with them. Jacob is given the burial of a hero. With a huge parade that walks with them to lay him in this tomb with the utmost of respect. And the family goes back to Egypt to settle in those lands, to be at peace, to be in joy, to dwell together in unity. Eki Quam Bonum is the story of the family of Joseph and Jacob there in Egypt, at least for a little while. This is how the book of Genesis will close, with Joseph as now an old man saying, one day, soon I will die, and I'll be laid to rest in honor here in Egypt. But one day, our descendants will leave Egypt and go back home to the land of promise. So promise me that you will take my bones with you. For I desire to lay with my fathers, with Jacob, with Isaac, and with Abraham, into the land that God has promised us. And they say, okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. But Eki Quam Bonum is a wonderful place where we're dwelling together in unity and in peace and in joy. And that's how Genesis ends. That's the first book of the Bible. The second book is Exodus. Exodus is where they are slaves and they are desperate to be free and to leave Egypt. So what happens in between? How can they be in peace and in honor and in joy at the end of one book and at the beginning of the next book? They are in bondage. They are slaves. They are being slaughtered, and they desperately need God to save them. Something happens in between, and we'll just have to get to it later because that's its own story. But these are the stories of the Old Testament which are compelling, amazing, adventurous, and they are true. And I want you to know them. Because when you know stories this good, I believe you will love them. When you love these stories, you will love God's Word. And you love God's Word, I believe you will love Him more and more and more. And this is a story of humility and faith. This is a story where even brought to the lowest again and again and again, the Lord might raise you to the highest of heights and accomplish things through you and with you never could have come up with. You never could have expected. You couldn't have even imagined. Because God's promises are always true. And His gifts, as Paul reminds us, are irrevocable. And with humility, to know at our lowest or at our highest, God is not done with us yet. And even the things that people have meant for our suffering can be used by God for our blessing and for the salvation of others. Eki Quam Bonum. United, you and me, all of us together, all those outside these doors, all those who call upon the name of Christ, who trust and believe in His never-ending promises, every tribe, every tongue, every language, every nation, united and one in Christ. One Lord, one faith, one body, His body. Eki Quam Bonum. It is good. It is pleasant. It is holy. It is righteous. It is right.